welcome to today's session. My name is Gemma Margerison, the Resilience and Recovery Coach here at Gemma Louise Coaching. And this week I'm joined by a very special guest. Hello, Julia.
Hello. Thanks for having me, Gemma. Thank you.
You're very welcome. How are you?
I'm really well. Always excited, always buzzing when I can share about some good stuff.
Fantastic. So Julia, just for people that perhaps don't know you, could you tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do?
Well, who am I? If you're wondering about my accent, to get that mystery out of the way, I'm German, but I've lived in the UK now. I've lived in different countries since the UK since 2000, really. So, yeah, and what do? I am a success and health coach, because that is both are very, very close to my heart. And for me, I define success really as something that is, be able to do what you want to do and when you want to do it. And that needs two things in life. It needs money. We need money for everything, right? Because if you want to do nice things where you want to fly a plane or just want to buy an ice cream or so, you need money for that. Mm-hmm. But if you have all the money in the world and you haven't got your health, then you probably have to spend that money on private healthcare or on specialist support, and not really on the things that you really wanted to do, whether that is playing with your grandchildren, whether that is kicking a football with your kids, whether that is doing your dream world tour journey or building a village or whatever your dream might be. If your health isn't there, and that's a physical and mental health at both areas really, because again, we can be very, very fit physically, but if our brain doesn't support us, if we feel tired, if we have this brain fog, if all that limits us, then our joy is limited, our potential, we limit our potential. And that's why I'm so passionate about this. So to really help people give people different choices and just show a different angle coming from a nutritional point of view. And I just have to put this out here because obviously the other therapists out. I know for me, it is mind, body, spirit, and energy really that work together. And I always call them yin, yang, and yang if energy goes with it. But I think we need to have all these elements sound in our body to have really a balanced, to really achieve the maximum of our potential. But I'm focusing on the nutritional side, on the bodily side. So when I say all disease begins in the gut, I absolutely mean that, but I'm not dismissing or ignoring, obviously, other areas of health, which are equally important.
Yeah, brilliant. So we'll come back to the gut health stuff in a second, but how did you sort of get into doing this particular type of work?
Well, I think my dad was a GP, and I grew up with we had the surgery at the house, and so I think I had exposure to anything medical right from day one almost. And certain things there standing about and I don't know, figures or everything about health, and I overheard those chats, and then I helped him later on the surgery, and I really took a fascination to the body. I love how the body works inside out, and more the inside really. And you could ask me how a car works, although I always use that as an analogy, but I haven't got a clue really how that ticks. And I couldn't care less, But when it comes to the body, you'll see me diving into and studying it. So, and the other thing, another passion of mine is food. I mean, who doesn't love food? If you don't love food, you need to talk to me, because we can sort that. I mean, food is fuel for the body. We need that. And combining those two was something that sort of happened to me, I have to say, probably about 14, 15, when I realized that the knowledge that I'd acquired just out of personal interest and passion over my lifetime, that far exceeded the normal knowledge, the standard knowledge. And I always thought what I know is just, that's what everybody knows, that's just normal. And thank you to, I don't know, the universe or whoever is there, life took me down this path, because I have a very different corporate career, and I studied BA in economics. I used to be a global program manager in the telecoms world, and always worked internationally, globally in a very different field. And whilst that was interesting, it was never really fulfilling, I have to say. Now, this is fulfilling because I'm dealing with what I'm passionate about, and I'm dealing with bodies, and I'm really helping to change lives. And yeah, as I said, I mean, it was life that took me down that path, because I suppose it was my mother who was very ill. She had cancer and passed away. And there was a time when she had chemo. That was her choice, but she took the chemo route, and she had her mouth was all sore and she couldn't eat. And I thought, how on earth can I feed? I just knew that this body needed food and nutrients. That's what I knew. But I couldn't get it in because the mouth was so sore.
Mm-hmm.
And so I looked into supplementation for the first time ever. I was the biggest hypocrite, biggest cynic, any sarcastic joke about supplements, that was me. But I thought, well, it's a concentrated form of putting food into that body, and that's what the body needed.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my first look into it, really. Despite even as an athlete, I used to compete, and never interested me. Now, my mum passed away, and then fast forwarding, obviously, to 2014, 15, my mother-in-law, who's very dear to me, was very ill. And she, well, at that point as well, where I thought, I need food in that body. I really need food in that body. And I went on a quest again and looked into something very different to what I usually looked at. And through that and many other things, I am where I am, and fully passionate about it. And since really enjoy talking to an audience like this, talking to, and just really helping to inform and educate everybody and just show you the choices. It's not for me to make the choice of anyone. Everybody has to decide what they want to do about their health. But what I do know is that everybody has a chance to feel better. And so I experienced on my own body, experienced on my own body and on many others.
Yeah. Wow. So let's go back to this all all disease starts in the gut, or however it was that you worded it. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, the gut is, here we come to the car that I haven't got a clue how it works. However, I know the basics. I need to go to the petrol station, put fuel in, and that fuel needs to hit somewhere the bonnet where the engine sits, and everything that the engine doesn't need needs to go out the exhaust. Yeah, so that's the fueling system. And if any of these parts don't work properly, if I have a leak in the tank, then I'm wasting my money on the super fuel. I might as well put water in, because it's never going to get to the engine. Or if I don't take my car to the service, then I don't have my filters cleaned. And so again, if I put super fuel in, hoping to get the super boost and to go on my journey and get to where I want to get to, that's what we need with the car for, isn't it? To have some joy and fun in life, or take it for work. Now, if I constantly have to worry that this car breaks down on the road, well, I take it to the service and MOT and try to make it as safe as possible. And they change the filters so that everything is nice and clean, and my super fuel can get to that engine and fire it up, and we can go. And now, what that fueling system is in the car is a gut in our body. And I hope that makes sense. So our gut actually starts at the mouth, down the esophagus, and out the other end. It's a 9-meter long tube. I mean, it's a massive system, some organs attached to it. And it's all like, curled up like this. So why do we need to move, even in a talk like this? Because everything needs to move that we put into our body. And so it's a fascinating system. So this is where, why does all disease begin there? It's in the gut, just really in a nutshell, we have over 70% of our immune system burst in the gut, in our immune cells. Now we're in 2021, we're all still, we know what happened in 2020 with the COVID virus. Everybody was worried about their immune system. Everybody tried to strengthen their immune system. But I didn't really hear a lot of people looking at their gut. And it saddened me, where I thought, that's where we need to start, because that's where it starts. That's where it gets trained. We have the gut-brain connection. I mean, here you're a resilience coach, and you know how important it is. I mean, we need to be very strong in our mind, don't we? We need to be very tough in our mind. That is what resilience is, but that's driven by hormones. And we have our noradrenaline, our dopamine, our oxytocin. We have all these, serotonin, all these hormones that help us with the get up and go and happiness. And then we have our melatonin and dopamine, which calm us and let us go into deep sleep and repair. But guess what? Over 70% of those hormones are produced in the gut. So, are we getting the connection? I mean, there is actually physical connection, which is called the vagus nerve, between the gut and the brain. And there's about 9 times more messaging going from the gut to the brain than the other way around. So I like to compare that to a computer. We're on this Zoom here now, we're looking at a screen, and what this screen is showing us is just something that's programmed in the background, something in this computer. So our brain becomes like this front end, whilst the programming really happens in the gut.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we need to understand. So that's one thing, that's, in terms of the governing of us. But then we have the absorption of food, the fuel. Again, that happens in the gut in different areas. We need the right gut balance, the right bacteria in there. And what happens is, don't know if anyone here has heard of leaky gut. Many people have probably heard the term leaky gut, but leaky gut is, you can compare it to a teacup or so. Brewing a tea. You put the tea bag in and you put the water over, and you just want the lovely flavors to come out. Now, if that tea bag has little tears and rips, the leaves will come out, the bits, and you look in your mug and go like, yeah. So we don't want that. Now, that is what leaky gut is for you. And that face that I just pulled is what your body is pulling if you don't look after your gut. And because when you have the permeability of the gut, that means that food particles and toxins are leaking into your bloodstream, just like the tea bits leaking into your water. And once stuff is in your bloodstream, it can travel anywhere, and it sits in the body, and it causes mild hurts of inflammation everywhere. Now, when it's, a bit of inflammation here, it's okay, a bit of inflammation there, and the immune system comes and goes and attacks it. But if you've got inflammation constantly everywhere in the body, little bits, the immune system just, it's just too much. And they say, inflamed gut, inflamed brain. With, there's a lot with this link with this vagus nerve and stuff. It just makes sense. So you see now, when we say all disease begins in the gut, I mean, everything starts with inflammation. And the immune system goes, oh, wow, we have other things, and we get, over acidity, we get our aches and pains, and whether it's diabetes and arthritis, whether it's just constant fatigue, it's the IBS, it's bloat. I mean, it's all, birth sort of coming from inflammation, really. And that starts from the gut. So you've got what research is talking about. You've got your gut-lung axis, the respiratory system, depending on it. You've got your gut-heart axis. You've got your gut-brain axis. I mean, there's so much that is linked. Yeah, so, and that's where it sort of comes from, all disease begins in the gut. And I must admit, I had my, why am I so passionate about this particular topic is my mother and my grandmother died of bowel cancers and problems there. I have a history. I used to pass out in school with colic, digestive cramps, with literally cramps and pains and bloating, and could never explain it. And again, my dad was a GP, so I had access to everything, but nothing worked. Not natural, not pharmaceutical. And it was only when, I came across, the best food on the planet, really, and changed some areas there, that I found the holy grail for mine. And because I can tell you, not going to the toilet for 4 to 5 days in a row is not normal. And it's not healthy either.
No, gosh. So how can people improve their relationship with their gut?
I like that, relationship with their gut. Yes, no, we need to have this relationship to our body. I like this expression, Gemma, because we have a relationship to our car. We have a relationship to our phone, the holy phone. I mean, when that drops in the toilet, our life dies, doesn't it? But our body. There's another one, just again, the relationship quickly. When you have a flat tire, it just reminds me, 3 weeks ago, trying to drive in the lakes, and we had a flat tire, we had a puncture. What a rot, but it needed to be fixed. Now, I actually have a pack of Post-it notes on the dashboard. And I thought I could now take a Post-it note out and label it, identify all that tire is flat, label it, stick it on, and keep driving. We wouldn't do that, would we? Now, but when we feel brain fog, when we feel tired, when we can't sleep anymore, menopausal issues, or any intolerances, big thing, allergies start in the gut, then we just find a label. work was too stressful, the kids, if we don't find anything else, age, God for age, we find an excuse, we find a label, and then we live on with it. So we need this relationship to ourselves. We need to allow us, to find these punctures. And so what can people do? First of all, yes, really recognize that. Listen to your body. If you're not feeling full of energy in spring, no matter what your age is, then your body is telling you something. And, it's worth looking into where it starts from. And medication is not always a solution. Medication is something that helps us to take over. Medication is just like a plaster on a bleeding finger because you cut it. It stops the blood from going everywhere, but it's not going to heal the wound. Yeah. Medication doesn't heal. Yeah, medication just puts a Band-Aid over, whether it's medication for mental illness, antidepressants or happy pills or anything, or it's medication for diabetes, for blood clotting, for whatever you name it. It's not the solution. So food, looking into better food nutrition should be something that everybody should address before we grab medication. And so we are lacking a diet in fermented foods. Fermented foods have good bacteria, and I very quickly need to explain this, what the microbiome is, this bacterial household, to make it clearer why food is so important. Now, we are made of about 100 trillion cells, but only 10% of those contain human DNA. The remaining 90% it's like an acquired ecosystem that lives in us and on us. Okay. 2/3 of that 90% that makes us lives in our gut, and that's called the microbiome. So this 90%, this ecosystem is called the microbiome. 2/3 of that lives in our gut. Now, we need to have the right balance there, and food can help us to get the right balance. Food and also de-stressing. So there's always two elements. We can put in to do better, so do more of one thing, and we can do less of another thing, and less of is less stress of. So stress shuts down our nervous system, our immune system, our gut system. So it's very, very important that we're mindful, that we take stress out of our life in order to help our gut to really work properly, which will then produce the right hormones, help our mental health, help us metabolize better, lose weight, etc., etc. So we have, and de-stressing, we're all in this day and age where we say, I haven't got time, we're rushing in, we're rushing out. People laugh at me when I ask them, do you go to the toilet? Yeah. Said, what hinders you from spending 2 or 3 more minutes in the bathroom, closing your eyes and just focusing on the moment and focusing on you, just looking inwards. Nobody's going to stand outside saying, oh my goodness, Julia, spend 3 more minutes on the toilet. That's not on there. Nobody's going to do that. Yeah. So we need to find this time. What hinders us once we've run into the supermarket, stood stressful at the cashier? Well, actually, there we are not stressed. We could have actually stood there 3 minutes longer. No, but then we're running to the car, we're switching the engine on, and just put your shopping into the car and sit for a minute or 2 or 3. You could have spent that time in the cashier queue. You weren't bothered about it. The moment you're back in the car, we're like that. No, just take that me time. The day is not going to change for those 3 minutes. So there are lots and lots of, if we want to really, we find these slivers of time, throughout the day. And with just 3 minutes, that doesn't change the day, changes a lot for our health. So that's something that's very, very important. And then with foods, yes, obviously come away from processed foods, cook fresh. It isn't so difficult. And the internet is full of it, contact me often. I'm sharing, there's so much you can do. And it's actually quite fun as well. Then you have things, drinking plenty is important. Going out in fresh air. Oh, air freshness. And sorry for anyone who's dealing with that. I'm not trying to ruin a business, but what I say is, if you have air freshness in the house, in the car, please take them, send them on a non-return journey to the bin. They're lethal. They sit on your respiratory system. It's a constant exposure to chemicals. We're somehow brainwashed into things are only clean and good when they smell of something. You know, I mean, I worked with someone who brought out a completely toxin-free cleaning material series. So just cleaning sprays and floor cleaner and household cleaners, amazing stuff. Didn't smell of anything, did the job perfectly well. When they did some market research and asked people about label and this and that, you know, when they were just coming out, you know, one of the biggest feedbacks was, it doesn't smell of anything. Does it actually work?
Right.
That people wanted a scent in there. Yeah, that's how brainwashed we are. But we need to understand that these chemicals are toxins that sit in our brain, sit in our respiratory system, get into our, you know, skin irritation. We're worried about, you know, COPD, asthmas. We have allergic reactions on our skin to everything because everything is scented, even in our soap. Do we really need antibacterial soap? Now, what does it say? It kills 99.9% of bacteria. We love that, don't we? Don't we love that slogan when we go shopping? Oh, yes, let's buy that. It kills 90. No, that's only 99%. That's 99.9%. I buy that one. We love it. Now, what did I just say what the microbiome is? The microbiome, 90% of you is microorganisms, bacteria, fungi. So when you use those things, who do you think you're attacking and cleaning and killing? Yeah. So we need to be more mindful. I think this is, you know, what people can do. Just be a bit more mindful as you go through. Try to buy more fresh. Don't just be led by marketing. If it says no sugar added, well, it's probably full of sweetener. You know, do you know what sweetener does for you? I mean, diabetes patients are so misled by that. They're wondering why they're piling on more weight, you know, despite the fact they're low sugar, because it's a farce. They just need to understand how sweeteners work. You know, low fat. Well, low fat means, you know, it's replaced with trans fats. Look what's happened to butter and margarine. You know, we've taken out the good stuff out of food to make it shelf stable, to make it, you know, to put it into cans and plastic containers, etc. Go through the supermarket and look how few aisles we have of fresh produce, and how vast the amount of aisles of packaged, canned, and storable stuff.
Yeah. Wow.
I mean, I could go on. There's so much more about it. There is one more thing actually that, you know, I don't know, you know, which is very important there. And quickly back to the car. Will you put diesel into a petrol car, Gemma?
I'd try not to.
You try not to, no, because it is an expensive repair. It ends your journey there because of forgiving, yeah, and the highest cost, the cost of embarrassment, because that sticks with you for life. You know, everybody's going to laugh about you, even when you're I don't know, grandma age, whatever. And it's you know, remember when Gemma did? Well, so we're very careful, very alert about it. Now, with our body, that's the same thing. We're all unique, and nutrigenetics is a mind-blowing field, a new field that allows us to identify what sort of fuel type our personal body is, and whether an apple is really the best food for me or not, and whether, you know, rice or quinoa is better for me, and it's just so fascinating because we all have individual genetic code that never change, by the way. However, through lifestyle, we can change the genetic expression. And that also is linked with the gut, because the gut balance in the microbiome can interfere with the genetic expression and alter our DNA expression. And likewise, you know, what's written in the DNA can mean that we have, you know, different ways of metabolizing certain foods. So it's really important to understand both elements, what we put in and how that is metabolized and absorbed.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Honestly, it's a whole area that I perhaps haven't, you know, looked into before, and would love to know more about, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. So how can people get hold of you? Where can they go to find out more information?
Just find me, come and we'll have a chat. No, find me on. I'm on Facebook. I've got my normal, so start with social media profile, Julia Riewald, but I've got a page, Power from Within, and so you can find me there, or probably through Lifestyle. That's a bit easier, through Lifestyle, on Facebook. There's also a page I shared, which is free for everybody to use, called Gut Friendly Delights. So you find recipes, gut friendly recipes there. And you find me under Julia at percent-edge.com. So that's percent, PERCNT, hyphen, and then edge, like the corner.com. As you know, just email me. And you know, have a chat. I'm offering a free lifestyle analysis to everybody, really to understand where the bodily systems stand. It's a questionnaire that was designed by doctors and nutritional experts, and helps us a bit to understand where our weakest link is, so then we can address, you know, everything. It's pointless washing the car because there's dirt and when the tire is flat. We're still not going to drive when we have a clean car and a flat tire, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to get the tire sorted, and then the washing of the car can come with that. You know? So that's really what that helps with. Yeah, and I'm delighted, you know, to help people with it. Or you can phone me. I mean, I don't know if you want me to leave phone number, if that's so you can always phone me. It's in the UK. I work globally, by the way, but it's in the UK, and 07902 214 534. So put that in there.
Brill. Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been absolutely fascinating, and you know, I'm really looking forward to you know, following more of your work. So thank you so much.
Oh, thanks, Gemma, and thanks very much for the opportunity. And yeah, looking forward to further collaborating with you as well. So
thank you. We hope that this has been useful for you. If you've got any comments or questions, please feel free to get in touch with myself or Julia, and we'll see you for the next episode. Thank you.